Okay, so today I'm reviewing the Meebike Gallop, and this electric bike has a retro style to it. I'm liking the look so far, but it also does come in a step-through version that allows it to be a little bit easier to get on and off of the bike. But that version comes in white. This version obviously comes in black, and it has a price tag of $2,299, and that does include a 2-year warranty. But what are you getting for this price point? Well, first, it's a very clean-looking bike. So the cables up front are nicely tied down and bundled together, and also I just love the lines on this bike, especially with this part here right in front of the seat. It looks really nice and open. And also too, you will find a rear rack on the back of this bike as well. And it does have a very convenient handle too. So if you do need to pick up this bike and move it, it makes it a little bit easier for you. And this bike does weigh 72 pounds. So definitely having this handle is going to be useful. And the bike itself has a weight capacity of 275 pounds. So that's including you and also anything you want to put on that rear rack. And this bike is going to be best fitted for riders between a height range of 5'5" and 6'5". And I come in at 6 feet tall, so when I was riding on this bike, I did feel like my knees came up a little bit, but nothing that was too uncomfortable. But also because this seat is not adjustable, there's nothing really I can do to kind of compensate for that. But the good thing is that this seat is really comfortable. So the seat has a really nice surface area that is wide enough for a big butt guy like I am. And it does have a decent amount of give in it as well. And I just really love how it's streamlined. It really blends in well with the frame of the bike. Now up front, you do have a really good headlight that does have daytime running lights, but also when you are riding at night, you can turn on the main portion of the light, and it did a really good job at lighting up the path in front of me. And then on the back, you do have an integrated brake light as well. So when you press down on the brakes, that will light up in the back to warn people behind you. Now you also do have a place on the down tube to be able to attach things like water bottles, and also you do get front and rear fenders to help keep you protected when you are riding through mud or water. And these fenders will be sitting on top of 20 by 4-inch fat tires that I found that any terrain that I was riding this bike on, they did a really good job at having enough grip and also to allow the ride to be very smooth as well. And especially when you combine these fat tires with the dual suspension that you get on this bike, you have a really good, comfortable ride. And so I rode over some hills, some bumps, some cobblestone, and I found this bike really handled very well. And the front suspension does have preload and lockout as well, so you can lock out the suspension to be able to get that maximum speed, especially on hard pavement, or you can just go ahead and unlock it to give you really that most cushiony feel when you are riding on rough terrain. Now, one minor thing about the design that I don't like is the fact that it does have the website on the side of the bike, so that's a little too much advertising for myself. I'm fine with the rest of the logos on the bike, but that's one thing that I would remove. Now up on the handlebars, you do have some good comfortable leather grips, and also on the right hand side of the handlebars you will find a half twist throttle, which is very good when just using the throttle only. And also next to that you will find the controls for the 7-speed Shimano shifter that this bike does have. Very good, solid, reliable shifter. I have no problems with that. And then also on the left hand side of the bike you will find controls for the display, and then also you will find a bell. Now this bike does come with a TFT display, which is bright in sunlight, and also I love the colors that it does have. And as you are going up and down the different levels of pedal assist, which there are 5, you'll see the colors change as well to be a nice little indicator of which pedal assist level that you are in. And in the settings menu, you will find some options to change up the color themes of the menu system, so they have a few options for you to choose from. Now this bike also does have a 48 volt, 20 amp hour integrated removable battery. So this bike does come with a couple of keys that you can use to put the key in, unlock the battery, and it will come out from the bottom of the down tube. And now you can take it inside to charge it if you want to, but also just the overall battery range for this bike. Meebike says that you should be able to get on pedal assist between 60 and 80 miles. And then also when you are using the throttle between 40 and 50 miles. So this range is definitely going to be dependent on how much you weigh, the different terrain that you're riding on, whether you have wind in your face or on your back and stuff like that. But it's a pretty decent amount of range to get from. Not the most that I've seen in this price range, but should be good enough for most people. But one thing about the battery is that it will take you between 6 and 9 hours to get a full charge out of this. So I would like to see some type of faster charging setup here with this bike, maybe to bring those charging speed times down to maybe 4 or 5 hours. Okay, so what else? Oh, so this bike does come with hydraulic disc brakes, which have some really good stopping power. I felt very comfortable with braking on this bike going downhill or on some higher speeds, but they do squeak way more than what I would want, and you'll hear that in my speed and braking test test here in a second. But also this bike does come with a 750 watt motor that does peak out at 1,000 watts. But now let's jump into my speed test to see what speeds I was able to get out of this bike. Okay, so this bike does ship to you as a class 2 electric bike, meaning that it can reach up to 20 miles per hour, no matter if you're using the throttle or pedal assist, and I can confirm it does do that. But the company says you can unlock this bike to be able to go up to 28 miles per hour, so practically turning it into a class 3 electric bike. So be careful when you do this, because some places you can only ride class 2 or maybe even class 1, but class 3 is going to be, of course, the fastest and the most fun way to ride this bike. And it's pretty easy to unlock it in the settings. You don't need any fancy codes. Just use the buttons and it'll be able to be unlocked in just a matter of seconds. And so my first test is just going to be using the throttle only, and the sun is coming out, so let's get this thing going in 3, 2, 1. Boom. All right, so Takeoff is a little slow for what I want for this price range and a 750 watt motor, but we're at 13 miles per hour now, and on my GPS app on my phone, now we're at 18 miles per hour, and it's pretty much the same on the bike's display, so it looks to be pretty accurate. So we're up to 22 miles per hour on my GPS, 23 miles per hour on my bike's display, and we're at 24 miles per hour. Hanging around here. Can we get 25? So yeah, we're at 24 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and hit the brakes. And yes, you can already hear that the brakes squeak a lot. So I did some adjustments, but they are just squeaking. Yeah, I'm not liking the squeaking of the brakes, but they do have some good stopping power and they get me to a stop in a hurry. So now let me do pedal assist. So I am in pedal assist level 5. So let's get this thing going in 3, 2, 1, boom. All right, so the acceleration is pretty decent when you are using pedal assist. And we are at 14 miles per hour already. Let me give it some more power here. Let me get my legs moving. We're at 20 miles per hour on the bike's display, 21 miles per hour on both. 23, and I am working here at 24, 25. Oh. All right, let's test out the brakes. Woo, squeaky, squeaky. Now, I do want to mention that I did reach out to the company and mention my problems with the brakes, and they said that they would be willing to send out some replacement parts for the brakes as needed, so that is good. And then also for the top speed, they do say between 25 and 28 miles per hour. So you can see from my test, I did reach at least 25 miles per hour with the pedal assist and also the throttle only test. It's just that at this price range, I think that they have stiff competition with other bikes that are able to at least get 28 miles per hour and some bikes that can get up to 32 miles per hour. So it does feel like this bike is a little underpowered compared to others. But if you are the type who just needs 25 miles per hour, that's a really good cruising speed for you, it might not be an issue for you. Now, another thing about this bike is that it does have a torque sensor, which is really good for cruising speeds when you are pedaling. So the more you pedal, the more power it will get to the motor, and it's just a more kind of a natural feeling instead of with like a cadence sensor where sometimes they can be a little bit jerky. But for most of the time, this torque sensor is going to be very comfortable to use. And this bike does have a walking assist mode. So basically just hold down on the minus button and the bike will take off. But it is a little bit of a fast start. But once you get going, it does get to a better speed. And this is going to be good to be able to move this bike. Now, there's also an app that you can download to go along with this bike that's available on iOS and Android. But the problem is it just doesn't work that well. So basic functions include just being able to show you your speed, your distance traveled, a lot of the same information you can already see on your bike's display. But this app pairs to your bike via Bluetooth. And the issue that I ran into was the fact that this bike does have a feature where you would need to have your phone connected to Bluetooth to the bike in order to be able to unlock it. So if someone was to get on your bike, they wouldn't be able to just ride away at full power. It would just keep cutting off and on. But the problem is, even when I have my phone that's connected to the bike, it kept doing the same thing. It kept cutting on and off. Now, after I did do a factory reset, I was able to get this bike back to normal and I didn't have the issue anymore. But for right now, my suggestion would be to stay away from the app until they can get everything sorted out. All right, so look, I think that's about it for this Meebike Gallop. Look, for $22.99, this bike has a couple of things that I want to see fine-tuned and fixed on this bike. One being that top speed. So I want a little bit more out of this bike because I feel like they can do it. And also the squeakiness of the brakes. It might just be my bike, but I definitely don't want to have to make as much adjustments as I think I need to make for the brakes on this bike as far as just the squeaking noise. But again, generally the brakes are really good. The overall ride of this bike is very comfortable. I love the suspension system, and also just the general look of this bike is really cool as well. So it's going to be very appealing to some people, especially if you don't need like the top speed at this price range. But I'll leave a link down below to this Meebike Gallop in the description of this video so you can check out more information about it. I want to know what you think about this bike in the comments down below, and also make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell and that like button if you did like this video. I know I'm giving you a lot of instructions right now, but hopefully you just enjoyed this video. So I want to thank you for watching, and I will catch you later. Peace.